Hi, I'm recording this from my bed. Didn't really want to, but I just kind of felt it necessary. And if anybody notices, yes, I am still in the same pajamas. I don't bathe every day because this water is not good for your skin, guys. It's not good to drink, much less your skin. And yeah, I'm human. I am not perfect. Yes, I can come off brash and harsh, but it helps my brain, to be honest with you, and that's kind of usually when I get on here because anger is a good, it's good for the brain. It forces adrenaline into the brain, so that everything good and everything bad can be used, and even the bad can be used in a good way, which, like with being more alert and being able to communicate a little bit better, because this is kind of more of my everyday state. I have moments, but pretty much this is kind of how I feel every day. Like shit. Well, I haven't been able to sleep because there's something coming down, that's for sure. There's a lot of information being thrown at us guys, more uh, than it should be, and that's why all the confusion and all it's this is all done with great intent, so that real people out there like myself cannot get through to other real people out there who are doing this, because they are not letting us, and they're preventing it, and they're allowing all these people in to play all these games, and it's causing good people not to be able to connect with good people who are in this fight. That's what I've noticed, because what it's done, it's caused a distrust in who you can and cannot trust on here anymore. Which, to be honest with you, I hate technology. I've always hated technology. I am not your normal woman. Never have been, never will be. Never been into material things. I've never cared about coloring my hair. And I'm 51 years old. This is all natural, honey. The grays, if you can't see them, you're blind. But probably the only reason it's still this color is because I didn't color it all my life. Because all my other sisters, I have 2 full sisters and 2 half sisters. Every one of them are fully gray underneath all that dye. But anyway, so I guess if you don't dye your hair your whole life, maybe you won't turn gray. I don't know. All I know is that this is my natural hair color, except for my grays. If I get in the sun, you could see them. I got them. And I've earned every damn one of them, by God. And, I've just, this negativity that's coming out of this internet right now is real bad, real bad, real bad. All the big channels, of course, everybody's on them, everybody watches them. I did it just like everybody else in the beginning, because, to be honest with you, like I said, I don't like technology. Someone gave me a tablet when I was here in Georgia in 2014. These people I was living with, going through my disability, and the mom bought me a tablet, and when I moved to Phoenix, Arizona, my disability finally came through. That was in 2014. I moved to Arizona, and the tablet started messing up, so the on and off button wouldn't come on. It was the cheapest one at Best Buy. So apparently, she bought the extended warranty on it, bless her heart. And so I took it into Best Buy out there in Arizona and traded it for a Google Android tablet. That's what I'm on. That's all I have. Oh, and I wouldn't have this, like I said, if she wouldn't, oh, excuse me, have bought this tablet, because I would have never purchased one. I feel that this technology is so, it's ruined people as far as like human communication. It's taken us on a level that, in my observation over my lifetime, seeing when there was a time when this technology was not there, to it coming into fruition, that it's not turned out to be a really good thing. It's made people just not care about anything but what I'm staring into right now. And so I'm taking this thing I hate so much, technology, and I'm trying to use it for something good. And I will apologize, because I have said on the internet that as far as mankind goes, I'm so mad at y'all, I don't even like y'all anymore. And that's really not true. I do like people. I like people a lot. It's just, God, it's like, y'all make it impossible to deal with. And just like, really. I mean, you can't talk to anybody anymore because they got their head stuck down in the phone. I mean, you could sit in a room and that's literally all you get. But whatever. But there's a couple of things I want to address that's been going on the internet with channels that I've been researching. I've been doing a lot. When I decided to stop making videos for a while, couple of reasons. It scared the hell out of my family, and they were afraid. And I can understand that. A lot of people are afraid. But I do like that saying, though. There's nothing to fear but fear itself, because fearing something is just going to make it worse. That's the worst thing you can do, is fear. Fear nothing. Because whatever they can do to you, they're going to do it anyway. And you can lay down and take it, or you can be like me and go out fighting. I choose to go out fighting, because that's just me. Well, that's kind of always just been me. When it comes to what's right and what's true and what's just what's right. I mean, it's just like, it's not my right, it's not my truth, it's just truth. It's natural law, it's God's law. If you want to bring religion into this. But I don't do religion. I do God, I don't do religion. But I explore and get into researching all kinds of things. So I've been all over this internet looking at all kinds of interesting and different things. And even though a person's right or wrong, because guys, we're all human, we're going to make mistakes, we're not always going to be right. We're changing with every minute, every second of every day, of every year, constantly in change. So, we have to change with it or get bogged down in it. And a couple of things I would just want to address about what I've been, observing on the internet. Well, all the big channels, of course, if you watch long enough, you notice a pattern. That's one of the first things that you kind of pick up on, is you notice this pattern that happens. And, but you can also get some information. That's the thing about being open-minded to all kinds of things, is that everybody's got something to bring to the table. But if they're just so full of shit, there's only so much of their bullshit I can tolerate after a while, and I'll just get rid of their channel. But there is always something from everyone that I can get some information from, whether it's useful or not. It's just, and whether it's true or not, it's still interesting, because one, you realize over time, analyzing all this, how the system in the game is being played, and how you're being played, and how it is played. And Robin's channel, Robin Hood's channel, who, it's funny because I quit watching TV because it's so full of crap. I can't stand the freaking lies anymore. And really, how I got on his channel, going through there, is him making fun of fake news. That's honestly, oh, excuse me, how I started watching his channel. He was making fun of people on the TV. And because I can't stand TV anymore, I just cannot take the freaking, oh my God, I just can't take it. And so that's what attracted me to his channel. Was he? That was one of the very first videos I ever watched of his. Was him making fun of somebody on the news. I mean, it was freaking hilarious, and I honestly needed to laugh. I needed to laugh, and I laughed my ass off. And sometimes I wish he would do more of that, because a lot of us need that. We're all going through a lot of shit, and you are funny when you make fun of reality. That it is funny. And God bless your family for putting up with you, because you are a piece of work, darling. I see the gift in you of being able to deal with that side of this. Honestly, that is not my gift. I couldn't do what you're doing. I wouldn't want to. But dear, we're all human, and what I'm seeing is that real people out there who are doing this like me, and you, we all have our own reasons and whys, and some of us come off one way or the other in different times. And if I get on here really sick, I get the pity party bullshit from people, and I don't want that bullshit. I do not feel sorry for myself. I have lived a good life. I have done some wonderful things for myself. I've traveled all over the United States of America, the lower 48 states. I've been to almost every single national park. I've seen so much beauty, so much of God's beautiful Mother Earth. You can't put into words the things that I've seen. And I went all by myself. And it was the best time of my life. I mean, if you really want to discover how deep really God is and how insignificant we are as human beings on this planet, I highly recommend it to anyone, but I think it's kind of too late to do it. But that doesn't mean right now, I highly recommend to everyone, what is it that you love? What do you love? What have you dreamt about doing your whole entire life? When I was a little girl, I always dreamt about wanting to play the piano. So at 30, I learned to play the piano. And I'd always wanted to paint and be an artist. And so I started painting one day, and I sold my art. And actually, technically, the terminology to be a real artist is that you sell your work, that somebody would actually pay money for it. And I don't do it anymore. It's too much. I don't have the space in my little house. I got rid of all my stuff when I was living in my car at times, and all that lot of living life shit, whatever. And anyway, I'm gonna light my cigarette. Forgive me, I'm human, okay? I am not perfect. I'm not trying to sit up here and claim to be anybody perfect, okay? I am just trying to do something that I was put on this earth to do, and I've known this since I was a child, and I just didn't know to the extent of where this was going to go. And it always changes all the time. Because what's the saying? We make plans and God laughs. Well, He does. He laughs at us because we're humans. We're human beings. We make mistakes. God, I need a cup of coffee. It would really help straighten my brain up. Unfortunately, guys, my illness is in my brain. I got shingles when I was 45 years old. It's funny because Robin talks about this year and this of Harold camping, and it's so weird, and that's the connection I keep having with him, because I had this experience when I went to Costa Rica in 2010, and it's so weird how all the dates are just like line up like that. 2010, I went to Costa Rica. I checked my passport. I think it was June 2010. All over Costa Rica when we got off the plane. Actually, my significant other was already there. He was a surfer. He'd been there for a week with his friend, and I came for the second week. And so flew into the airport, and I mean, all over Costa Rica, there were billboards talking about May 21st, 2011. I'm not kidding you guys. They were all over Costa Rica. This whole entire country believed in this man. They were everywhere. Of course, I couldn't speak the language, and a lot of the people there only know certain words. You might get one that could speak good English, but I never got around one when it pertained to asking about those signs. But they were, like I said, all over Costa Rica. It's just like about this date, okay? So I'm like, I'm one of them kind of people that are so open-minded that I believe that at this point anything is possible. So I took that shit to, heart. Is like, if all these people can believe this, then there has to be something to it. And so I kept it in my mind, as and I talked to my significant other about it, and he just didn't even care to even want to discuss it at all. I mean, period at all. He's like, oh, kind of blew it off thing, whatever. But of course, it certainly if an entire country is listening to Harold Camping, it's got to be something to it. I mean, there's got to be something to it. And the fact that it was all hidden from us, there's got to be something to that as well. That's what made me go, wait a minute, when Robin started talking about this in this date, because I saw that for my own eyes. A whole entire country believed in Harold Camping and that date. And just like Harold Camping and them, it wasn't about the end of the time. It was the opening of that seal. And he's right. It was opened. It was opened. Because the forces came on me. They needed me to go down because they knew I'd fight tooth and fucking nail on this thing. If I was healthy, my God, the things that I could get accomplished versus that being the what has happened to me and being left like this. They wanted me like this because of the things to come. They did not need a person like me to be healthy because I've been a freaking warrior my whole life. I'm 5 foot, 100 pounds, and I don't take no bullshit off nobody. I don't care who the fuck you are. I've told son of bitches with guns, blow my fucking head off, motherfucker. Go ahead. Live with it for the rest of your life. Deal with that. Not my problem. But I'm going to tell you now, I'm not going to sit here and listen to you or put up with your shit or allow this behavior or this injustice in my presence. I will not do it. And I don't care who you are. And I've stood up to many motherfuckers. And them son of a bitches knew it, so they took me down. To not allow me to put the fight I could have put in this. And they know it. But you know what? They don't know God. Because I'm still here, people. But anyway, the story with Robin. So I come home, and this is June 2010 that I came to this acknowledgement of this man and this state and the belief of an entire people. So this had to have meaning and resonance, and the fact that it was being hidden from us meant even more. Because a lot of times it's not, sometimes it's not what they're saying, it's what they're saying. It's what they're not saying. Because they're saying it, but they're really not saying it. And so you come back to America, and so I asked a bunch of people about this thing that I saw in Costa Rica. And this judgment, nobody knew a damn thing about it. Nobody. No one. I was living in Florida at the time. I'm from Georgia, but I moved to Florida when I was 38. And that's why I started traveling around the United States of America. After I'd moved down to Florida, welcome to Florida, Hurricane Charlie, Francis, and Jean, literally the week after I moved to Florida on Friday the 13th. I mean, seriously, my life has just been crazy. Every psychologist I've ever talked to, they says, please write a book. Your life is insane. And there's a lot more to that story, too, as well. And it has a lot to do with God and how me and God came in contact when I was a little girl. We'll get on that story at another time. I want to keep this about what's going on this internet and people that I've tried to reach out to and come in contact with. And the only reason I'm persistently staying with Robin is because I am trying to get him to understand that I understand and that there's something to this, and there's something more that I want to tell him about things that I know and that I have discovered along the way here, and I just don't want to put shit like this on the internet. There's just something that doesn't need to be put on the internet for everyone. This message that was given to me is not for everyone. I'm sorry, it's just not. But I think that, Robin, it is for you and your family. And that's why I keep persisting on trying to get in touch with you. But anyway, 2010. So when that date came along, I did not forget that date. I did not forget that date. So when it rolled on, I remember the night before, on the 20th, that my significant other's sister and her boyfriend came over, and I made this really, I used to love to cook. Oh, God, I used to love to cook. I used to grow my own food, organic food. I miss it so bad. But anyway, I remember just thinking, if this is our last day, if this is it, if this could possibly be it. You know, we don't know, but we know, but we know. We know, but we don't know. We're human. Like we said, we make plans and God laughs. But we also, there's a knowing that it's a feeling more than it's something that you can truly put your finger on, because things change and move rapidly so much. And our perception of what God's plan is not God's plan. We're just either willing participants in His plan, or we're not. And we mess up a lot along the way, and we try to do the best we can. And we dust ourselves off when we make mistakes, and we try to do our best to say I'm sorry. So when to say on the internet that I am sorry that I said I am sick of humans and they deserve what they get, and I really didn't mean that. I honestly really didn't mean that from the bottom of my heart. I do need to apologize for that. Everything else I don't apologize for, and I'm not kidding. Okay. But, so anyway, when I got sick, so that night I was telling you, oh, well, let's just do that. We did that. I made this wonderful dinner just in case. And of course, like with Harold camping and with Robin and everybody else, we woke up the next day and nothing had happened. And that was okay. It didn't mean that something didn't happen. Something did happen. Something did happen. It was a shift in consciousness. Or, like Robin said, the seal was opened. And so January of that very year that happened, in 2011, is when I got struck with shingles. Y'all, shingles is not something that we were taught that we were going to get, or it was going to happen. If you had chicken pox when you was a little kid, all of us can get shingles, and I'll be straight up honest with you, I never knew what the hell it was. I always heard of it. I thought it was some skin rash that old people get. And after, I guess, the crash, or maybe this was intentional, because the night I got it, I was on the internet. Actually, got on Mike's laptop, and got on a YouTube account a long time ago. This was in January of 2011. And I ran across HAARP. HAARP. And learned for the first time about energy weapons. I was, wow, this exists. This is a trip. So I'm on the computer that night, and I swear to God, and I described it to the doctor just like this. I told the lady, I said, it feels like I got struck in the head with a freaking laser beam. I said, that's honestly what it feels like. Because it started here, right here on my forehead. I had this big, it was like a welt, like this. Like I'd been hit in the head with a straight beam laser beam. And that's where it started, was right there. But of course, it grew all the way down into my hair and to the base of my neck. And then grew across my eye and my nose, went across under this cheek and stopped about right there. So my whole entire face was swollen, my eyes shut. I was in bed for 5 weeks. This happened January 2011, before that seal was opened. And so that's why I'm trying my best to get to Robin, because I have had experiences that relate to this. So I know something happened. I don't really know what happened for sure, which none of us really truly know, but we know. It's a feeling of knowing that something is not the same anymore, that a change has happened that it's never going to be the same again. And I knew that. And so after I got the shingles, I actually was able to go back to work about 6 weeks later when all those sores and everything went away. It was bad. I mean, pain like you've never... I had natural childbirth, guys, and I thought that was like the worst pain that I would never forget for the rest of my life. Because my son had a big old head, and I had natural childbirth. I'm a little bitty woman. And that baby weighed 6 pounds, 14 ounces, and I squeezed that big-headed child through my little tiny body. Oh my God, I would just never forget that. 22 and a half hours of labor, 8 and a half hours of pushing. But anyway, until I got shingles, nerve pain. And you get it in your head, your brain, where all you have millions of nerve endings in your brain. That's your computer. That's where your central nervous system. It's kind of basically like what we're on, but in human form. That's what the brain is to the body, your computer. And it got struck down by shingles, a virus. Or did it? Was I hit in the head with a laser beam? Fuck, I don't know. Basically, now, after all the research. Because the thing is, if you're on what I initially said it felt like, and what it looked like, how it started, because seriously, it was a straight line freaking beam up my fucking head. Is how it started that night when I was on that computer. And so that was pretty much the setup for my demise, because a year later, I got it, what my doctor said, I got it again, but in the form of I can never say this word, hepatic myalgia, permanent nerve damage to the brain. And spending every penny I had, because I was thrown off healthcare years ago for being a cancer survivor. I was one of those, fell through not the crack, I fell through the freaking, I fell into the end of the earth and didn't come back from that one. But one of those people who were called pre-existing conditions and could never have health care again for the rest of their life. That's where I was during 9/11, finding out whether or not I was going to live again. I was coming out of a CAT scan machine when the tower fell. And after that, I was told I could never have insurance again for the rest of my life. And never be seen by a doctor again for the rest of my life. And that was my second time I survived cancer. But anyway, so a year later, in February, I get the post-hepatic myalgia. I got that. And because, oh God, it crosses your brain right about at the top of your ear. Here's my ear. The top of your ear, coming out of your brain, right up here, is it's called a trigeminal nerve. And it comes down out of your brain and down beside your ear and follows your jawline. And as it hits your jawline, it splits off in 3 places. That's why it's called trigeminal, meaning of course 3. And this is the nerve that controls your face. And because it went across the trigeminal nerve, I got trigeminal neuralgia on top of it. So not only did I get all the nerves damaged in my brain from the shingles and then getting the postherpetic neuralgia, because that's called permanent nerve damage on the spot where I had shingles on my brain. And if anybody knows anything about shingles, it's in the nerves, inside the nerves, and you have millions in your brain. That's your computer, your nervous system. And so, of course, then I get trigeminal neuralgia, and turns out to be a rare form of trigeminal neuralgia that forms a tumor. Here we go, cancer number 3. Normally they form in your brain on the trigeminal nerve, but I got lucky. This is how God works. God is so good to me. With all this shit that I've been through, He is so good to me. My tumor formed right there under my ear as the trigeminal nerve came down, and right before it splits off and one comes right down your jawline, right, kind of like this, and I think the other one comes up and controls like your eyes and stuff. But anyway, this is what happened to me down in Florida, and of course, no health care whatsoever, and they were going to let me become paralyzed, because that's what a rare form of trigeminal neuralgia is. You form a tumor on the trigeminal nerve until the tumor grows into the nerve and paralyzes the nerve, which would have meant I would have been paralyzed in the face, and we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. We can talk about how I saved myself another time and the hell that I went through to get that done, and the miracles that God performs. And when God speaks to me and tells me to do something, and it sounds like the most craziest idea in the world, I listen. And because I listen to God, I'm talking to you right now. And I lost everything to get that surgery. I had to leave Florida. Crazy story, we'll get into it another time. Okay, but then that's the Robin thing. So Robin, I'm still fucking trying to get in touch with you. There's something I need to talk to you about. It may have to be in a letter. It cannot be over a phone. Everything is listened to. It may even have to be a personal conversation. We may have to try to make that work somehow. We're both from the East Coast. My mom still can drive, and my car is still in pretty good condition. We could meet halfway, me and my mom, and you and your wife and your son, because there's something I need to tell you. But anyway, that's that, Robin. Okay. That's another thing about what I'm seeing. The problem of the internet is more than likely because I went on a rampage on Facebook a while back, before I even got onto YouTube. And the only reason I had a Facebook account because the mom that bought me the tablet in the beginning, her son, set up me a Facebook account. So it was already on that tablet. So I already had a Facebook account. And so I was raising hell over there on Facebook. And I was having a lot of problems getting cussed out by every freaking Christian to get their hands on me, but whatever. And every, of course, Republican, but whatever. Because they think I'm a Democrat. I'm not a fucking Democrat. I wouldn't be a Democrat. I didn't like what I saw in that election. It's just the whole election. That was the most demeaning thing I've ever seen for our country. I mean, I can't, looking in. I mean, yes, I got sucked up into it for a couple of years, voting. I'll never do it again. Never did it my whole life, and got sucked in when Bush got appointed. And because my instincts again said that day he was, when the Supreme Court announced that he was the president, my stomach hit the floor, and I said, oh my God, this country is in trouble. And that was pure instincts, and God, were they dead on 9/11 and the September 2008 crash of our economy, and let's just go downhill from there. And these occupying wars that we're in. Oh my God, we can go all day. But anyway, that's just what I'm saying about instincts. Instincts are God talking to you, honey. When your instincts, that's inside your soul. When you hear that inside your soul that's talking to you and it's telling you to do something that goes against the grain of humanity and society as a whole, because God don't give a shit about what we think. Seriously, I'm telling you. He laughs. So when he tells you to do these things, first of all, you're going to think this is the most craziest thing I've ever heard, because people are going to think this, that, or whatever. First of all, you're thinking about what everybody else is thinking about what you're going to do, or your actions to do what you've been asked to do. And I've learned the hard way in my younger years to listen to that instinct, that inner voice, because when I started to listen to it, it never was wrong. Never. That's why when I get it, it's the wackiest fucking shit I've ever heard. And I just obey. I just do it. And God is right every freaking time. I mean, this is how you can prove God and how it works, is to test that when that inner voice, when it talks to you and tells you to do things that you know goes against the grain of society and what people will think of you. And he's going to ask you to do something and to stand up for something that's true and right and just. You know that it's true and right and just because it's your heart, it's your soul. You know that inner voice that talks to all of us. Everybody has it. And you do it. Okay, that's Robin. I don't know if there's anything. The only thing I got to say to you, Robin, I do admire this gift that God gave you of dealing with these people, because I have zero. I'm talking zero freaking patience with people like that. I can deal with them for about 2 seconds. I'm serious. If you know me well enough to know when I'm done with you, I will speak my piece, and I will never speak to your ass again. I don't have time for that shit. I like myself way too much to put myself through that. I'm sorry. And all you non-believers that don't believe the importance of loving yourself first, most importantly than any human being on this planet, you have lost your freaking mind. You love God first, and then you love yourself second. Now, whatever your belief systems or religion or whatever, yes, I do believe Jesus, but there's so much manipulation going on here, because the what I read in the Bible about Jesus' life and what he said and what people actually do is not the same thing. Because Jesus, I'm sorry people, was set here as an example to show you what God wanted you to do. He wanted you to do what Jesus did. Give your all, like it says in Malachi. Bring ye all to the storehouse. Storehouse is neither building nor structure. In the King James Version, in the glossary, read it, people. My God. If you really want your own answers to the Bible, this is what I did when I was losing my best friend to religion. As I said, God, I had a King James Version Bible with me. Because, honey, I grew up in the South. This is Bible Belt. I grew up in churches. And I said, God, I've been through this Bible up and down my whole life. My grandmother was super freaking religious. She's the one that drove me to church every Sunday. And, I've been through this Bible up and down and upside down as a child growing up. But, of course, they don't do what I did when I did this, when I was losing my best friend of 25 years to a religion. So I opened this King James Version Bible. Before I did, I got on my knees. I dropped to my knees. I have no shame in this game. And I said, God, please, please, when I open this book, show me what I need to read that applies to what is going on in my life, or what I need to know right now, or what is important to you. And tell me what to read in its entirety. Not breaking up verses all over the damn place and trying to read the entire story of that person and what they went through in its entirety. Stop breaking shit up into verses, okay? You go and you get on your knees and you ask God to, when you open that book, and throw all them other goddamn books out. If use the King James Version, because it's about as close as we can get to because this is what I believe about the Bible, that yes, I do not believe that it was written by God. You can't prove that. That is impossible, and you know that, because God is not a human being. And religion tries to make God a human being, and God is not a human being. God is everything. He's everything. Okay, he's not a human being, he's everything. Using words, we don't understand how words have so much meaning. When you say Father, that's like saying God is a man. We have to watch our words, guys. I mean, seriously, we have to watch our words, because we have been conditioned in man's laws, not natural law. Natural law is all around us. It's called Mother Earth. If you really want to get and understand how God thinks, just in a fraction, because it's so vast that your mind, and there are not words to describe it. And you can't have this experience unless you do what I did. What I highly recommend anyone to do is to go take a journey in his world that he created, this beautiful Mother Earth, wherever you are on this planet, and get away from human civilization. And it's just you, Mother Earth, and God. And Mother Earth is God, because God is everything. Just like we are God too, because he made us. God is everything. He's everything. Everything. He's even of the things that man uses to turn into evil. He's everything. He's in everything and everywhere. He's in this tablet. He's in there. Because the things that he made, the natural resources that they use to make this product, is of God. So he is there as well. And I don't give a shit about you demonic assholes on here. What this shit is made from came from natural resources. And natural resources is God. God is everything. Period. And I believe that the Bible has a lot of really good stories in it. But the problem is, I could see the hand of man in there as well. And that's where the discernment comes in. That's where you have to have that in there, that voice that talks to you, that tells you to do. And you have to ask. You got to meet God halfway. If you're not willing to get up off your lazy ass and do something and fight, God ain't going to meet you halfway. I'm going to tell you that right now. To sit there and speak a bunch of words don't mean shit to God. You have to get up and do something. Actions. That's what he's asking you to do. He showed you that with Jesus Christ. He showed you what to do. He says it in Malachi, bring ye all to the storehouse. But the problem with the church is they don't go on to continue what that says. It says if you bring ye all to the storehouse, and in the glossary of the King James Version, it says storehouse is neither building nor structure, so it can't be a church. And all is not money. So is that church sitting there telling you that all you are is 10% of your cash? Really? And you're going to buy that crap? If you go on in Malachi, it says, if you do these things, what would happen? It says it right there. Because the Bible is a freaking test, guys. It's a riddle to figure out. It's a riddle. And it's right there. It says it. Because I honestly don't remember where, but I heard this my whole entire life in church, that about heaven on earth. That heaven reigns on earth for 1,000 years. Okay, if you did exactly what it said in Malachi, as it's presented in the King James Version, words are very specific. It goes on to say no one will suffer, no one will hurt, no one will do without. And there wouldn't be any of this pain, suffering, and blame, and dividing, and separating if we took the gifts that God gave us free, for free. Didn't cost us nothing. He gave it to us for free, these gifts we have. We all got our individual gifts. Mine is I will fight against any human mankind for truth, justice, what's of virtue, what's of good report, back to God. And the God of peace shall be with you. That's how you get peace. Philippians 4:8. Whatsoever that is true, whatsoever that is just, whatsoever that is of good virtue, whatsoever that is of good report. You do these things upon me, my name, God, my name. And the God of peace shall be with you. But if you don't do this, you don't have peace in the midst of hell. And you need to have peace in the midst of hell, or exactly what Revelation says, your heart's going to fail on you. It's going to fail on you. Now, when I dropped down on my knees and I asked God to point me in the direction of where I needed to go, He pointed me to 4 stories in the Bible. My God, my life has been nothing but a sequence of 4s. That's another long story. But anyway, so He points me to Ruth, Esther, the book of Job, and of course Revelations. So I started with Esther and Ruth. Wow. I grew up in church. Those are some extremely... If you had to nail down those 2 women, because they basically are 2 totally different stories, but the meaning is the same. If you could nail it down to a word, it's about sacrifice. That word sacrifice. Jesus, what He did, the sacrifice that He did to show you how, in the midst of what's happening right now, and what we're going through and what's about to happen, that this is what you're going to have to do. He showed you. Jesus showed you. He even said, all the things that I have done, you can do, and more. But that's not what you're doing. It's not what you're doing. It's not what you're doing. You got to be willing to be just like Jesus and be ready to die for God. Okay? You got to be ready to die for everything that I spoke of Philippians 4:8. For what's true, for what's just, for what is good virtue, for what is of good report back to God. And honey, that don't come in a pretty nice wrapped up package. I'm going to tell you that now. It don't. The truth hurts. The truth is belligerent, and it can get right up in your face. if you challenge it. You challenge me, think about it. This is how it works, I'm going to tell you. When you deal with situations like this, and you know that God is there, and you know when you stand up, when your actions meet God, that you're willing to stand up for something that you know that you're sitting there witnessing that is freaking wrong as hell, and you know it, and you sit back and you do nothing after what Jesus did and showed you what to do, and do nothing. If you do, watch what happens. Do it with no fear. God meets you halfway every time. I am living proof of what I'm speaking of. I practice what I preach. I'm not blowing smoke up nobody's chimney here. This is real life. All of this is. And this is what you need to understand. Even you, Robin, you're very good at what you do. But you're missing something because you're human, and I'm guilty as hell myself of this. And I just said it. I had to apologize right here to the world. That yes, I said I didn't care about mankind because I'm mad and I'm angry because of what I've been through. I didn't deserve this. Nobody deserves this. I can't stand Donald Trump, and not even Donald Trump deserves this. Nobody does what the fuck I have been through. But by God, I'm still standing. And y'all better be damn glad by the grace of God I'm still here. Because anybody that gets into this and jumps down this rabbit hole, if you do not understand what you are putting yourself into, you have not gotten a close relationship with God. You don't. I'm telling you straight up, because you went into this not knowing this was going to happen. Really? You didn't know you were in a spiritual war when you started this? Are you kidding me? You're in a spiritual war. You got to know what you're dealing with. This shit ain't pretty. And don't expect it to come in a nice, pretty box all wrapped up and be all nice and friendly coming from me. Because that is not going to happen every single time. I'm telling you right now, I am a human being and I am not perfect. My message is going to stay the same because I stand on truth, and truth is the truth, is the truth, is the truth, and it never changes. Anyway, Robin, you need to get a grip, dude. I really admire the gifts that God gave you. I see it. I'm quite aware. You are doing something that these people have no idea what the sacrifices that you're making for them. God gave you this wonderful gift to deal with these assholes, to try to save them. And if they don't want to get it, it's their ass in the end. But you know what? God wouldn't have let you do this if there wasn't somebody there that's going to be saved from it. Or you wouldn't be doing it. And you know that as well as I do. And I know it, and I saw it. That's why I'm still here talking about it. And I'm still trying to get through to you. But you need to slow down a minute and realize what you're on and what you're dealing with. That they are real people out here that are trying to reach you, that understand and that have more information to bring to the table about this situation based on my own experiences. And when I heard you mention that date and that man's name after my experience, because I didn't start watching you over any of that. I didn't start watching you over the Richie from Boston shit either. I started watching you over the fake news thing because I needed a freaking break. I needed to laugh, and the shit was funny. It was funny as hell. And then, I mean, to be thinking back on it and everything based on what I did on Facebook and everything, I might have brought this to your door. I straight up might have brought this to your door. That's why, and I've said this on one of your live feeds. I'm not gonna sit here and stand up for you. You're a grown man, and you know what the fuck you're doing, and you don't need me to defend you. Okay, I know that, and I wish you would figure it out because that is not my thing. But when I'm out here hearing that all this stuff going around, that when the shit don't add up, the shit don't add up. I have my own opinions, which I will keep to myself because they're my own. But I saw things, and Robin, I believe in you. That's the only reason I did it. I said, heads up, dude. Something's not right here. The writing is on the wall. I don't know what's going down, but something is going down. It's become a lot more clearer now at this point, and I'm not going into all that right now because it's all based on my own opinion and my own perception, and that's not what this is about. All right. Now I want to move to the DIY camper guy. And I'm sorry, I think it was me as well when I started watching your videos, because I've camped all over the country and I've had campers, and of course, being a little person, I've always been addicted to little tiny campers. And I was watching videos one day, and on the side there you were, do it yourself, build your own camper, and I watched your video. And then you did a video about the California fires, and I'm trying to find information out about it. So, to be honest with you, that's how I did subscribe to you. But the first video I actually watched of yours was a camper video, only because I'm into tiny things, and I'm a simplest type of person. And I'm sorry, I'm probably the one that caused all that. They followed me right over to you. So I'm sorry, DIY camper, that happened to you and this is happening to you. I think that you're a cool guy. I believe, so far, I have not found anything to bring any type of suspicions towards you. At this particular point in time, I was a slight bit questioned on when you were talking about the camping stuff, because you kept looking over reading something. I've never noticed you read anything before, but I think what you were reading were the campground rules to make sure that you conveyed that to everyone before you had to cancel it. Great idea. Sucks that people would ruin such a wonderful experience. I freaking love camping out in the middle of the woods, especially when you're out in the middle of freaking nowhere and you don't have electricity, you don't have water, you have you, Mother Nature, and you figure that shit out, bitch. That's real living. Strap a hammock to a couple of trees, put your dog on the ground next to the campfire, and sleep outside under the stars, baby. That's called living, and it don't cost nothing. Nothing. You want to find a real true experience with God? Go do that. Go take yourself out in the wilderness somewhere where it's you and a big, vast, open wilderness. And it's just you and that big, beautiful Mother Earth and her animals. And I'm going to tell you, you will understand how insignificant we really are. Because you want to figure out how much of a speck of what we are as an individual to the magnitude of this whole entire thing. We're nothing. Nothing. That's why I look and laugh at YouTube and Facebook and when they do this stuff, and I go, really, guys, I am not that freaking important. Are you serious? All this because you're scared of a 5 foot, 100-pound woman who has no fucking fear and who don't give a shit what you fucking do to her. Even if you come and murder me, I don't give a shit. Do it. That's your fucking baggage you gotta carry, not mine. But do you think I'm going to be afraid of your tactics? Mm-mm. I'm not. So I want to address the DIY camper guy over that issue, because I did notice that too. When I got on listening to him, that his subscribers went wild. Bob's did the same thing. I'm like, fuck, are these son of bitches following me around? And they're just going after everybody that I'm listening to or responding to, or am not seeing red flags hitting the field, or patterns or inconsistencies. Because if you listen to someone long enough and you're paying attention to what they're saying and what they're doing, people that lie always get caught. That's what they don't understand. They always get caught if you're paying attention. If you got your radars on and you're being extremely perceptive of what someone's saying and doing and what they're not saying or not doing, you can find out real quick whether somebody is lying or not. That is not a hard thing to do. There's inconsistencies in lying. And there's no inconsistencies in the truth. None. It will always be the same. It never falters. Because it is God. Get it? Or don't. I don't care. But anyway, I got one more thing to address, and that's Miss Mia. Mia and a new pair of glasses. This is the one that really got to me tonight. And I was going to wait till tomorrow to make this video, but I've been thinking about this. Laying here. Judge all you want. I told you I'm not perfect. I'm not going to try to pretend. I cuss. I get angry. And when I have pity parties, Mr. Gary, whatever, I just was trying to be nice to your little ass, but you going to play that little dry drunk bullshit on me? Gone. People have problems out there. And you're going to put your face out on the internet and you don't expect somebody might see a little something in you and then, maybe try to express some things to you and try to make a connection with you, and you go off on some batty ass damn fucking shit about pity parties. Dude, when I have a pity party, I don't invite anyone to my pity parties. I think everyone's entitled to one. We're all going through a whole lot of bullshit right now. And a whole lot of freaking suffering. In one form or another. Whether it be physical like me or mental. Oh, and that's not to mention the goddamn shingles burn brain lesions into my brain that causes bleed out strokes. I've had 3 already. Alone, by myself. I should have died. I should be dead. So obviously God has got a plan for me, and I ain't backing the fuck down. Okay? So if you don't like me based on my personality, or you think I'm having a freaking pity party, you don't know what a fucking pity party is. You are obviously having one yourself. And you do not have intelligence. Intelligence means that you are willing to have an open mind to all kinds of possibilities. Because at this point, Everything is possible. Everything. Nothing is off the table until it's proved to be a lie. And like I said, lies are not easy to uncover because liars tell on themselves every freaking time. Nobody can hold that shit down. A truth teller